Good evening and welcome to Soundshop. My name is Akpanoluo and and I started Soundshop 6 years ago to help musicians connect with each other so that they could share their music, talk about it, give each other advice, feedback, and encouragement. And it's become something that's very near and dear to me, which is why I'm still doing it 6 years later. And I started it in my living room in Williamsburg, and from there it progressed to sound studio, to various spaces around New York City. Had a residency at Rockwood Music Hall before COVID happened. Started doing events online for a while. Started doing some music in the brain events, which have been really cool. And ever since late last year, I've been hosting salons right here at the illustrious Club Curious. A little bit about Club Curious. This is the speakeasy of non alcoholic brand Curious Elixirs. If you haven't gotten a chance to try them, you absolutely should. The amount of care that has been put into this beautiful space is reflective of the care that JW, the founder, has put into each of the each of the cocktails that he's created for Curious Elixirs. So I just want to give a huge shout out to Curious Elixirs for letting us host here. And in terms of the format for the rest of the event, I will basically just say the name of the next artist and they will come on stage and they will have 5 minutes to talk about their musical background, talk about the song that they're going to perform, maybe mention details about things that they'd want the audience to listen for, or if they're interested in feedback, they can mention that as well. Then they'll perform that song, and then we'll have 10 minutes for a Q&A. So you will get to ask the artist questions, and that is so central to what makes this event so special. And then after that, I will give the final question, which is the icebreaker question that I pose to everyone, which is, what do you listen for first when you're listening to a song for the first time? Like, what are the things that your brain is attuned to? And then we'll have two more artists after that, and I'll wrap things up by giving us a moment to raise our hands to basically say what things we have to offer or have to seek to progress our creative endeavors or support the creative endeavors of others, or any musical performances that you have coming up. And that will take us to around 9:15. Then from there, we'll continue hanging out and mingling until around 10:30. So yeah. So without further ado, I will pass it to our first artist, Elana.
Thank you so much. Yeah, my name is Elana Low. I'm so happy to be here with all of you guys. This is my harmonium, in case you're wondering what this is. It's an instrument that you hear in a lot of spiritual music and a lot of Indian music. You may have seen it at a yoga studio. And I heard it for the first time when I went to an ashram back in 2015. And I had a musical background growing up, but sort of a fraught relationship with home. So I'd taken a very long break from music, and this was the first instrument that felt like home to me and that made me want to sing again. So yeah, then I bought one and I started writing with it immediately, and I love, there's a very ancient sound to it. It has an organ sound to me. And it's an instrument that really breathes with you. So I love the organic sound, and I love that it has this ancient sound, because my music kind of sits at this intersection of the modern and the ancient. I draw a lot of inspiration from folklore, from pagan themes, from myths, but at the end of the day, my music's also just about like intimacy and, or fear of intimacy, and very like modern relationship themes. And this song I'm going to play, it's called The Goldest Hour, not Golden Hour. and and not that doesn't get suggested every time I type it in a search engine, but yeah, I mean, this song you'll probably hear some pagan themes in there, some folk themes, but I wrote this song after I got out of a long-term relationship last year, and it was sort of that moment of wondering if anyone's ever going to like see you again, if you're ever going to be desired again, because I felt so invisible. And then I went on this trip, and it didn't have to go this way, but I met someone, and it wasn't a long-term thing, but it was exactly what I needed. And I came home, and I wrote this song. So that's that. And I just released this as a single, actually. So you can find it on Spotify, Apple Music, all those places. Golden hour, golden place, I would come to look upon your face. Darkest hour, cedar brow, you straddle my empire waist. Your hands trace the plains of my alien face. Your grip on my throat as we come to embrace. How can I look at the moon in the sky when you catch me by surprise with your golden eyes and cedar eyes, your goodness, oh your boldness, your golden eyes and cedar eyes, your goodness, oh your boldness. Golden hour, golden place, you came to my ocean, you followed my pace. Siren sighs neath starry skies, you kept time with my fall and my rise. Your hands trace the plains of my alien face. Your grip on my throat as we come to embrace. How can I look at the moon in the sky when you catch me by surprise with your golden eyes and cedar eyes, your goodness, oh your boldness, your golden eyes and cedar eyes, your goodness, oh your boldness. I'm as fertile as certain you move like the Nile. You're entirely new, and I feel like a child. Can I capture this feeling? Distilling like moonshine keeps undrunk, close and alive, close and alive, close and alive, close and alive, close and alive. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. I guess I sort of open it up to Q&A. But yeah, no, I'm here. If anyone has any questions. Oh, go for Oh. Yeah. um, I think I started writing it. I often start writing as a poem, so I started writing it one night, and then I kind of forgot about it. And then the next day, I was on a songwriting retreat, actually, with some friends, and the pressure was on to write a song for that night. And I started hearing it, and it just came through. And so then it was pretty quick. It was about 40 minutes once I got in there. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, sure. Great question. I mean, you can absolutely get them on the internet, but that is a little bit of a crapshoot. I got my harmonium from a man in Queens named Mindra. They call him I found him out about him actually through an NPR article. They call him the Harmonium King of Queens. Yep. And he's from Guyana, and he primarily actually repairs them. He doesn't usually sell them. And so I've been back to him a couple times, and I feel very lucky that he sold me this one. I think he just understood that I really connected with it. Um, um, that's a great question. I'm not really I mean, I guess they do, but he actually has helped me learn how to repair my own. So things happen from time to time, and I just kind of open it up with a screwdriver. But yeah, things happen. It needs help sometimes. Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah. Oh, that's a beautiful question. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it is like a very intimate song, right? And probably the most intimate song I've written. But I've loved sharing it, and it really, even though I'm sharing it with a ton of people, with all of you guys, it still just takes me back to that moment every time, which is a real gift for me because I went on this trip, I met someone, I came home, I lived my life, but and they can also go back there whenever this song is playing. And recording it was also a really beautiful process because sort of figuring out how to like recreate the sort of dreamy soundscape that way was interesting. Yeah. I believe they have. We haven't discussed it. So I don't know if they know it's about them, but they might know. They probably know. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, so I think the harmonium can be an incredibly tricky instrument to record. I mean, you mic'd it beautifully, but yeah, because it sort of picks up all of these clicks in the keyboard, and then the bellows make this creaking, breathing noise. So I've had people mic it incorrectly before, but we recorded it all together at once actually, which was such a relief for me. And then we dubbed the vocals over as well, but I sang it through a couple times, and then we recorded the vocals just to layer on top as well for depth. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, sure. Thank you. Mm. Yeah, no, I mean, it is. I played the piano when I was younger, and it gave me so much anxiety because the hands were doing these things. But no, I love that it's sort of like one hand is on the keys, and the other one has to keep the air moving. It's like this breathing process that the instrument does with you. And I love that. And yeah, if you're not pumping the bellows, like nothing's coming out. Yeah, and the other thing is, if I just play it and I'm playing completely in time with what I'm playing. Oh, I closed the valves. But if I do that, it kind of creates this like wah-wah effect. Like everything feels very literal. So I mostly write in like 6/8, and one part, either the keyboard will be in sort of 4 and the bellows will be in 3, or vice versa. So it's a different way to like split your brain, but yeah, I find it to be very meditative. Yeah, and I'm sure I'm sure you do. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, I know.
So as you're singing, I closed my eyes for like the first half, and I perceived like your voice and like whatever is coming through is just like this celestial entity kind of just like transmitting. And I know you also mentioned like your paganism, and so it's, my question is like, how do you relate to yourself as a celestial being, as that translates through your music?
Oh no, thank you. Yeah, I guess I am a very spiritual person, and I think, you know, I am pagan, and the mundane world and the magical world for me, they kind of exist on top of each other, overlaid. So, in general, with my music, I mean, always I'm trying to externalize the internal and, find a physical image for what I'm feeling. And I think magic is that way too. You're finding a way to manifest what you want, or like what's unseen. So, yeah, I would say with music, I sort of weave in and out of the mundane and magical worlds, and that's somewhere between human emotion and, and magic and spirit everywhere around us. Yeah. Oh, I love that question. Thank you. Yeah.
Can you tell us if you're comfortable sharing about the cards that you have on the front of your instrument?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So these are 2 tarot cards. I know that the star. Actually, I'm blanking on the other one, but I know the star is on here. I never look at it from this angle. Yes. So it's the star and temperance, and those are 2 tarot cards that mean a lot to me, and they're both about sort of having your foot in 2 different worlds. Like 1 foot on land, 1 foot in the water, 1 foot in the mundane world, 1 foot in the spiritual world. And the star card is about, I mean, it's about many things, but there's a lot of like emotional release in it. And like crying is a form of release, singing is a form of release, like breath work, movement. So I love having that on here because it reminds me, even if I'm not looking at it. And then temperance is this tricky card. If you look at it in the Rider Waite deck, it's sort of like an angelic figure who is pouring water between 2 glasses, 2 goblets, but the water is not moving in a normal fluid fashion. It's sort of defying gravity, and I think balance is a very tricky thing. It can seem easy. It can seem like everything's just supposed to naturally be in balance, but I think it's something to really pay attention to, and finding your equilibrium is unique and hard won. So that's why those cards are there. Thank you. And this is, I can't remember the deck. It's like an illuminated Italian medieval deck. I can't remember the name of it. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Are there singer-songwriters who use harmonium that inspired you? Search out?
I primarily, really, it was spending time on the ashram that was like a fundamental part of it for me because I got to sing with it. But a good friend of mine that I grew up with, she also had a harmonium. We never played together. I never heard, but I think the fact that she had it made it seem like not a crazy leap to me. Just I'd see it and I'd be like, okay, people have this. That's fine. And then I think I heard like Nico's Marble Index, and I was like, oh, you're allowed. This is okay. Like you're allowed to play this, and just let your voice be whatever it was, because I was very insecure about my voice at the time, and I loved how she just kind of like laid it out there, and the harmonium was just kind of really making this, I don't know, very mechanical noise, and I just liked how, yeah, she just wasn't afraid of that, and she let it be raw and kind of messy. So that's what I needed to like accept in order to start making music, I guess. Yeah.
All right, final
Yeah.
question. Yeah. So, what do you
Why do I keep moving away from the microphone? Yeah, I would say that I really love sort of like lush, like walls of sound. It's probably not a huge surprise, but I guess if there's like, I love like an overwhelming sort of like melodic, wave. So I love to be overwhelmed by sort of chords and sounds that way. And I love bass. I love so much bass. So I've been working on. I have a new EP coming out actually at the end of the month. I have a show actually at the Windjammer, June 25th. If anyone wants to come out, that'll be the EP release show. And I was mixing today with my sound engineer, and he just knows I just want him to always just like keep turning the bass up. That's all I want. I just want more bass. So, yeah, bass and melody. That's for me. Thank you so much.